Hello Flickering Myth family and welcome to our channel. My name is EJ and in this video we are going to be discussing a brand new movie review, a film just dropped in theaters and it is honestly my favorite movie I have seen this year. Let's talk about the filthy, fabulous, and freaky. Let's talk about Saltburn. Holy smokes. I am flabbergasted that this movie is out. I'm flabbergasted that they got away with what they got away with in this movie. Yes, this isn't the most shocking movie I've ever seen in my entire life. This isn't a Lars von Trier movie. This isn't like Kenneth Anger or John Waters even. But this movie definitely pushes the boundaries in mainstream cinema. A film from Focus Features, up there with this year with Poor Things as really pushing what you can do for freaky mainstream awards contenders. When this movie got sent to me for your consideration, I was like, cool, I'm into it. But then by the end of it, I'm like, oh, I will consider this movie, but the rest of you are? I cannot believe Saltburn does what it does. This movie, I will be honest, is a fairly predictable journey. We see this boy who is obsessed with another kid, who goes to his family's house for the summer and completely changes their lives. It's a pretty straightforward narrative, but the journey we go on, the pit stops we take, I saw things in this movie that I would have never predicted I could have seen. And it's just a refreshing film to see where you're getting a lot. And this movie can be read 1,000 different ways. A lot of people are taking the eat the rich concept from it. I was obsessed with the haunting tale of longing, of wanting something and wanting someone and what that will drive you to do. This movie has so many layers, so many interpretations, and that's how I know Saltburn is a pretty damn good movie, because I've seen enough movies at this year that I'm like, well, that was good. And then I'm left with my feeling of that was good, but I'm not wanting to think about it. I'm not wanting to dissect it. This movie, I want to open it up, peel it apart, go through it piece by piece, because Saltburn is a layered experience. It's also a very completely well-crafted movie. The cinematography, stunning. The editing, I was left aghast by some of the things in the edit. Like, it's so sleek and so well-paced. It's so interesting and vibrant. The match cuts, the way they actually use the edit and the cinematography to further tell the story. Then we have the fabulous production design and set design. We have the amazing acting from everyone. I mean, even people who I'm like, oh yeah, Jacob Elordi from Euphoria. My goodness, he's such a great part of this film. So yes, this movie is not only freaky, fabulous, and filthy, but it's also a well-made movie that really has a lot to sink your teeth into. That's exactly what we would want from something like this. Honestly, I can't think of a better movie to watch during the Thanksgiving season than Saltburn. Oliver Quick is a young student at Oxford. He doesn't really fit in, so when he meets this really tall, beautiful man named Felix, he is very enamored by him. Is it love? Is it lust? Is it obsession? What is it? We really don't know by the end of the film. I definitely think he was in love with him. The journey did not go that way, so he switched his plan up. But yes, we're seeing Oliver develop feelings for Felix and try to fit into his world, but he's definitely an outsider. So much so that he has to find a way to get into Felix's life almost permanently. So he gives him a sob story. Felix invites him to his house named Saltburn. If your house is named something, either you're too rich or too weird for me. The story seems to be he is both in this movie. So yes, Felix invites Oliver to his house for the summer. They journey through the summer. Oliver's definitely a odd man out here. You can definitely see the Saltburn family, the Saltburn life is a particular way of life. It's not just freaky weird people. These are really cold, distant, affluent people who have no connection to real human emotions. Felix is probably the closest thing, but that boy is a layer too. I don't trust him. There's questions I have, like how many boys has he done this to? Questions. But yes, we're seeing Oliver, played by Barry Keoghan, definitely infiltrate this family, and piece by piece he dissects it, he deteriorates it, he eats them alive, and it's very interesting to see. I don't want to get into spoilery details because this movie is still pretty fresh, and I definitely think you should go into it not knowing anything. There's one major oh my god moment that was spoiled for me, but then there's another one later on that I'm like, that was not spoiled for me, and that's somehow even crazier than what came before. Saltburn is definitely a exercise in poor taste. It's one of those John Waters-ish movies where you're watching the most rotted people do disgusting things, and you're supposed to just watch it unfold. The whole time you're like, oh, get me out of here, but give me more. This movie is addictive. I honestly wanted to watch it, let it play, and then watch it over again just to pick up on details, just to be back in the world of Saltburn. You get almost addicted to the quality. I can see why the Oliver character said, baby, I'm never leaving Saltburn. Y'all say that you can get lost here. I'm trying to get lost here. I understood that though, because this world is so familiar, but so distant. Like you feel like you know these people, but you don't want to know these people. I loved the world Emerald Fennell just really made in this thing. Her writing, her directing, her story ship, like it's just insane what she crafted in this world with these people, with these characters, from Felix to Oliver to the parents to the sisters to the random people you would see in the background at a party. Everyone is detailed, interesting, layered, and you need that from a movie like this. This could have been a surface level, eat the rich kind of movie. And again, I didn't even really take away the eat the rich stuff. I was more obsessed with the obsession aspect of this movie, but there's a lot you can take away from this. This movie is like filled to the brim with a lot of great moments, great conversation starters, and we again need movies like this so often, and I'm just so happy Saltburn is here to be filthy with all of us. Being dirty has never looked so good, and in this deeply erotic film, I am shocked with what they got away with, but I'm also really shocked with the wonderful acting. Barry Keoghan, I can spend the next 3 minutes of my life just dishing about his eyes, about his small little voice, and how boisterous it can get, and how much he uses that. I don't know. It felt like this movie was watching a sociopath mix up with psychopaths, and what that happens when these worlds clash, and also what happens when you long for something. This movie is so erotic, but it's also so sad. There's a deep sadness to the Oliver character, and Barry brings it out excellently. Honestly, Emerald Fennell just needs to keep doing tragic horror stories of these weird people, because that's also something I loved about this movie. It slow burned into a horror movie by the end of it, where I'm like, what? Like, the psychological thriller aspect of this movie is not what I expected. It's a dark comedy. There's times where I laughed out loud because of how messed up something was. But then you keep going and you're getting the layers and you're watching somebody just manipulate almost every member of the family, turn people against each other. And I love this kind of like soapy drama. That's why I love the movie May December. I'm addicted to watching these type of people unfold. I don't know how I'm not addicted to reality shows, because this is like watching the worst season of the Kardashians. If the Kardashians decided to eat themselves and just go insane, that's what watching this movie is like. It's just an experience of watching, again, the worst people do bad things, and we're just supposed to accept it. But this is what this world is like, and I think Emerald Fennell takes her background, her privilege that she's had maybe even growing up, and really exposing it. And I applaud that, because again, she could just easily make movies that feel surface level. Rich people are bad, help out the poor person. But this movie is not even really about that. Oliver's really not the poorest person you would ever think. There's a lot of different sneaky stuff happening. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but you're finding out that, one, I like that Oliver did not punch down. Even if he comes from a vaguely middle-class family, he still said, I'm gonna go up. I want Saltburn. Like, it's just a wonderful look at somebody and the determination. And I thought, again, the determination was to get, laid by Nate Jacobs. And I'm like, that's on his list. But he wants to get laid by you. He wants to kill you. He wants to do this. And I'm just like, oh, you never know where this movie's going. Yes, again, I said the straightforward, the A, B to C story is straight. You get where it's going. But between A and B, we take detours. Between B and C, there is a massive detour doing some filthy stuff. And I'm like, oh, again, this movie it's an experience. It's a lot. This movie is excess. It is over the top. It's melodramatic, but also it's, again, a smart, smooth, sleek film that has great craftsmanship, that has a solid story, wonderful directing, wonderful acting. I cannot make a ballot this year at the Critics' Choice Association without this movie. Now, will it be an Oscar contender? I think it's a little too wild. I don't think the Academy would even touch this movie with a 10-foot pole, but you never know. They've liked Knives Out, they've liked Parasite. This movie is definitely in the vein of those type of stories, but I think Saltburn is a little too perverted for even the Academy's newer vibe. Well, everyone, that is it for my quick breakdown of Saltburn. I could do a 30-minute discussion of this video, and I'm actually going to do a longer look at the longing, the queer aspect of this movie, and a lot of those things in a video on my separate channel, so you guys can find it up there if you want to check out my other channel. But if not, subscribe to Flickering Myth, because we make videos like this, and we are discussing some of the most amazing awards contenders this year. What a great year for film, and Saltburn, to me, is at the top of that list. What did you think of this review? What do you think of this movie? Did you see it this Thanksgiving weekend? Share your thoughts down in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up if you did enjoy, and like I said, do not forget to subscribe, because we have a lot to get into. Alright, let's talk about Saltburn right down below.